Yeah, yeah, yeah. Show me some. Show me some. Show me
Day
some.
Matum!
Show me some. Show me some.
You're supposed to say,
Lisa.
day, sir. Miranda, look at. I'm pulling a Miranda, everyone. I got that blue with that blue.
Wow.
I got the blue with the
Wow.
blue with the blue. Look at, and I got blue, and I got blue, and I got blue, and I got blue, and I got blue. I got blue everywhere.
That's
All right.
amazing.
So, do you think I can wear these throughout this one, or
Yeah.
maybe?
I don't think
I'm-
I'll be able to focus it too
No. All right, they're coming off, but I just wanted to show everyone that I can do what Miranda does. I can go blue with my blue, y'all. All right, so we're not going to do it, but she's got gold with white with gold. You guys can't see them. And if you're just following us on Spotify, why aren't you following us on YouTube? Why not, y'all? Anyway, Miranda, let's get into this. I didn't start my little TikToker, and now I did, just to make sure that we don't go over. Some people say that they want these like to be much longer, Miranda, but I think I like them right where we have them, don't you?
Yep.
All right, so today we are going to talk about the XY theory. Miranda, the XY theory is that you are the stimulus that creates their
response.
That's right. So guess what? If you're boring, they're going to be bored. If you're not having fun, they're not going to have fun. If you're having fun, you said this in the previous podcast, that smile, right? Smile, like you are the stimulus that creates the response. They're going to respond to you. And so if you're getting trust, you're just not being trustworthy. And so we're going to help you with some of that. People buy from you because they like you, because they trust you, and because they understand how you will impact their future. So it's like, trust, and understand. Okay. And I think one of the biggest things and one of the best things that we can do to help out drastically is with like and trust. And one thing that we can do is just tell your story. Tell why life insurance is important to you. Maybe you're new to this and you don't have a story. Go on YouTube and just simply type in, I wish my family had life insurance, and start listening to those stories. Or even go and like do the adverse, like just type in like, I'm thankful that my family had life insurance, or I'm thankful that my husband had life insurance, and listen to how their lives played out. And you can even tell those stories too. I have a story, Miranda, for everything. Like I have a story if I'm sitting with older people like my grandparents. I have a story if I'm sitting with younger people like my siblings' ages. I have a story for younger, like my brother's 10 years younger than I am. I have a story for that. Like I just have a story for my parents' age. Like I have a story for everything. And I would encourage that you understand like whom you're sitting with and kind of tell a story that really kind of correlates to that era or that age.
Such a good point, because for me, when I first started selling insurance, the hardest person to help was somebody that was like young, like in their like 20s, because they didn't think that they were going to die. Like, and so until I found a really good story about a family member that got killed in it was like a 30-year-old in a head-on collision car accident by a drunk driver, and what that felt like and looked like, and like then I was able to help these younger clients. But until then it was like I couldn't close a single one. It was like I couldn't help really a single one.
Yeah, no, I mean, and you're spot on too. And like I even find it where it's like the younger people feel like they have a hard time connecting with older people, right? And it's just the craziest thing to me. And so it's like, find a story that fits. And like I can kind of like, I'll get into kind of just sharing, like I'll share one, Miranda, that I think that just really kind of hits home. And Miranda, here's what I'm gonna do. Actually, let's do a little like role play here. I'm gonna give you kind of like two different versions of a story, and tell me which one you like
One
better.
more time. Two different what?
No, not doing it again. Not doing it, Miranda. All right, so I'm gonna give you two different versions. You're gonna get like a version 1 and a version 2. Okay, version 1, version 2. All right, so version 1. Let me tell you why I got into this business. I got into this because my grandfather passed away. It put my grandmother in like absolute turmoil. And she ended up finding that she had a policy, and so she didn't lose her house and she didn't lose everything, and she didn't have to go back to work. So it was really kind of cool. So that's why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because I want everyone to kind of have the same circumstance that the same outcome that my grandmother had. There's version 1. Here's version 2. Let me tell you why I got into this business. I got into this business because back in 2018, my grandfather had a massive heart attack and passed away. And what was crazy is I would literally drive every single day past like the road of my grandmother's house on my way to work. And one day I just kind of like, I hadn't seen her for a few weeks after the funeral. I'm like, I should just stop by, just see how she's doing. So I stop by, open up the door. She's, Johnny, oh my God, how are you? So good, Grandma, how are you? She said, good, are you hungry? Of course, that's why I stopped by, right? I'm just kidding. But I'm like, yeah, absolutely. My grandmother was like infamous for her chili, made really good chili. So anyway, she had some like frozen, so she makes big pots of it and then she freezes it and then you can whatever, right, reheat it. And so she's like, all right, let's make us both some. So she did that. We're sitting around the island. I'll never forget this, Miranda. I remember looking over at her and she was kind of like mid-drift in her spoon. And she was like, she had just scooped up chili. She was on her way to her mouth. And I said, Grandma, I said, let me ask you a question. She held it for a second. She said, go ahead, sweetie. I said, what would your life look like right now if Grandpa hadn't gotten that coverage for you? She dropped her spoon immediately, started crying, and excused herself from the table. I felt terrible. She came back and she said, I'm so sorry. I said, no, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I said, I apologize. She goes, no, let me answer your question. She goes, your grandfather, when he passed away, she goes, we had $126 in our checking account to last us 10 more days. She goes, we would always just give to our children. We didn't have anything. She said, we literally lived Social Security check to Social Security check. She said, we were $27,000 in credit card debt. She goes, we didn't have anything. She goes, if your grandfather hadn't had that coverage, she goes, I would be a 77-year-old woman working as a greeter at Walmart because no one's going to hire me because I'm way too old. She said, I would have lost the car. I would have lost the house. I would have lost everything. My world would have been completely flipped upside down. She goes, but because that man cared more about me than he did about whether his ego should have gotten coverage or not, we're set. She goes, Johnny, the house is paid off. The credit cards are paid off. She goes, there's tens of thousands of dollars in our checking account. And I get to go and live with she goes, I get to go and visit my grandchildren instead of being forced to live with them. She goes, I thank God that man cared more about me. So that's why I'm here. I want every single person to be treated the same way that my grandmother was. So tell me, why are you guys looking into this type of protection? So there's version 2. Which did you like better, Miranda? Do you like version 1 better or version 2?
Well, version 1 was definitely quicker, but there was no emotional, like no emotions tied into that. No visuals, nothing. It was just you telling a brief story. The second one, there were so many different things that you had them think about, or me think about, from the fact that like what life looks like now versus what it would have looked like. And so yeah, it was really good.
So you'd say version 2?
Well, version 2.
Version 2. Yeah, version 2 I think is just so much more important, even though for some people it's like, well, that kind of dragged on. Well, sure, but you're getting so much out of it. What you're trying to do is you really get them trying to think of like what their life could potentially look like if they don't get this, right? And I'm sharing a story of what my grandmother's life looked like because my grandfather had this type of protection put in place. So there's just so much into the emotion. Now, by me telling that story, Miranda, do you think like I'm easier to like? Do you think I'm easier to trust? Do you think that like my heart is in the right space, that my heart's in the right direction, that I'm not doing this all about like a little commission? I'm doing this because it's meaningful for me. I'm doing it because it's important to me. I'm doing it because like I genuinely want everyone to have that experience that my grandmother had, because It's not a matter of if you're going to die, it's a matter of when. And how do you want to leave your family? And I speak with this level of conviction, and I speak with this level of compassion and passion. And it's more of a confrontation that I'm coming with, instead of like, well, here, let me tell you why I'm in this business, right? Like, so I would encourage people to just really think about why you're doing this. Think of a really good story. Think of like just trying to just unravel a picture, and like always keep in mind of like, all right, here's what they could have looked like, but here's like what they look like because of it. Say it's in the adverse, Miranda. Like, say it's the total opposite. I'm going to emphasize what their world could have looked like, but because they didn't do it, here's what their life looks like. So my grandmother lost her house. She was in credit card debt. She's 77 years old as a Walmart greeter because no one else would hire her. She's having to live with all 4 of her kids. She spends a season with each one. She's forced. It's a forced living, and she feels like her kids are getting sick of her. She feels like she's a burden to that family. She feels like, and it's like, holy cow. You start looking at it from that perspective, people are going to put themselves in that, like they're going to envision themselves, and it's like, I don't want to go through that. I don't want to be that burden to my children. I don't want to ruin the relationships. I don't want them to get sick of me. I don't want them to have to wipe my bum, right? Like whatever it is, you're going to get like, you're just going to like, through your story, you're really helping people think. Does that make sense, Mar?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the wipe my bum thing, this threw me off. But and what happens, and this is so important, and this is why my sales presentation ends up being really long, is because when's the best time to handle an objection?
Or it comes up.
Right. So what you're doing is you're opening with, hey, all these things that before they have a chance to say, come up with an objection, we've already handled it in this story. Right. So I remember, John, when we first started onboarding people to insurance, one of the first exercises you'd give them is have them write out their why. And then we go back through it and make sure there was enough detail. And I know the story that I tell about the drunk driver. I'm like, listen, they were driving down the road on the way to school at 5:30 in the morning, and there's headlights coming at them from the opposite direction. Right. And it was a foggy night. And next thing you know, boom, that car hit him. And it's like, boom. And it's like, and it's not a funny thing, but like adding in that level of detail, it was like, it made all the difference in the world for getting on that emotional level with people. And then I know even to today, like, his wife on Facebook, I'm friends with her. Like she's still, I don't know if she's still working. And now we're going back years and years and years. Like this totally, it still messed them up.
Yeah.
So
life altering because a simple decision wasn't made to protect their family. So have that level of passion, and listen, keep listening. Thank you guys so much for listening. We truly appreciate all of the comments and all the love and all the outpouring that you guys are giving us. If you want to contact us individually, if you have certain questions for us about this particular episode, or if you have questions about anything, any ideas, tips, or tricks that you want to share with us, please click the link below. You'll have a direct access link to Miranda and a direct access link to myself.
Yep, keep the ideas coming, guys, because anything that we can do to help you not suck at sales, well, that's our mission. So it's a wrap.
I go for that gusto, losing ain't an option. Check a bag and make deposits and deposits and deposits.